Hello everyone, let's check this beautiful game played by Hikaru Nakamura. It was from the Casino de Barcelona tournament from 2007 and he was paired against Michael Vladimirovich Krasankov. He was one of the strongest grandmasters at the time. So with the white pieces, Krasankov starts the game with one knight f3. So knight f3, knight f6, and we are seeing the English opening, but the game is eventually transposed into the Catalan setup after pawn d5, bishop g2, bishop e7, and then both side castles, pawn b3, and then pawn to a5. So trying to go on the queen side, maybe to dislodge these pawns and create some weaknesses. So he plays knight c3, stopping that. Pawn c6, setting up a solid pawn structure in the center, like in the Slav. So pawn to d4, knight b d7, and then queen to c2, and then pawn b6. So after pawn b6, here Krasenko plays this amazing move, that is pawn to e4. So he wants to crush Hikaru, and he wants to open up the center, so he plays e4. But here Hikaru played calmly bishop a6, trying to win a pawn in this position. So in this position, where white could have played this pawn e5 move, where the knight has to go back, and this position is easy to handle as white. And for black, it is not that easy because his pieces are cramped, and if you look for any pawn break such as pawn f6 or pawn c5 or pawn b5, it is going to still work for you, but it is going to leave some weaknesses, especially when you are considering pawn f6. The e6 is going to become weak pawn. But in the game, what happened, he played knight to d2. That was the only move to keep his initiative, that is pawn e5. But in the game knight d2, already the game is kind of equalized because of this last move. Hikaru strikes in the center back with the c5. After e takes d5, c takes d4, he plays knight to b5. After e takes d5, knight takes d4, and rook to c8. Now that pawn is pinned here, so Hikaru is trying to take advantage of that. And a few moves back, the center was so strong, but now the center is clarified. No, there is no great tension prevailing in the center. So he plays rook e1, just occupying the open file. Pawn to b5, trying to take advantage of the fact that the pawn is pinned, and he is attacking it further. Bishop b2, rook e8, and then he finally retreats the queen to d1 to unpin the pawn. So b takes c4 was played, and then b takes c4, and then queen b6. This is the starting moment of the, or what do you say, this is the critical moment. It's because queen b6 is it's kind of what do you say, because now if you see the white, you can play the move rook to b1, and simply you are inviting the rook to x-ray your queen. How can you play such a move? Here Hikaru had a beautiful plan. After rook to b1, he plays d takes c4 e, so he plays knight c6. It's because of the the discovery he is anticipating. He plays knight c6. This is not the best way. So here he could have tried bishop c3 just to play or unleash the discovery, and then the queen will go to queen c5, and then the game continues without much problem. But what happened in the game, he plays knight c6. After that, rook takes c6. He sacrifices the rook, and then after bishop takes f6, as you can see, there are three pieces are hanging. And this is another critical moment where you have to save multiple pieces at once, but it is not simply not possible for you to defend everything, right? But what happened in the game will definitely shock you, because he forces the queen sacrifice with a queen takes f3, a brilliant queen sacrifice. And now you have to accept the sacrifice, otherwise you will be down a lot of material. Example, if you play king h1, then I can simply take on f6, and I am up a lot of material, and I can easily win the game. So but in the game, he simply accepted the sacrifice. It was the 22nd move. In the next 6 moves, the game is going to be over. So bishop c5 check, he organizes the rest of the army to checkmate the white king. And after king f3, so if you are wondering in this position, king f1, then the problem is I can go pawn c3 check, that discovered check, and after rook e2, pawn c2, forking the queen and the rook. The idea is after deflecting the queen away, then you play bishop takes e2 check, king e1, and then you can give this discovery and win back the queen with a much better position. After king takes, and then you can finally take on f6, and you are hold rook up in this position. Going back in the game, considering this, he plays king f3, and then we have rook takes f6 check, king to g4, knight to e5 check. So here If you are thinking about giving some material black, you could consider that, but still you are not getting away from this mating pattern. So bishop c8 check, king h4, and then rook takes e5. In the next couple of moves you are getting checkmated, especially rook h6 is coming. But in the game he played king g5 and then rook g6 was tried, and that's a forcing move again, and you are still in the mating pattern. So he plays king h5. In this position, if you are thinking about retreating the king back to f4, then black could continue his attack with the knight d3 check and then king f3 and then rook f6 check, king g4, bishop c8 check, and then king to g5. Queen rook takes e1, trying to deflect the queen away from the light squares. So queen takes e1 and then rook g6 check, king h4, and then rook h6 check, king g5, and then rook pawn to f6 is a check. In the game, instead of king to f4, he played king to h5. So rook g6 check and then king h5, pawn to f6 now. It's a very calm move by Hikaru. And here after this move, he plays rook takes e5 check. Rook takes e5 and then rook takes e5 check, king h4, and then bishop c8. In this position, Krasenko simply resigned the game. Why would he resign? It's because there is unstoppable mate is coming. Example, let's say you play any random move, then rook h6 is check, or even if you try some forcing move such as bishop to d5 check, that's just giving up material to delay the mate. Rook takes d5, pawn g4, and then rook to d3, covering that escape square so that rook h6 would be a checkmate. So let's say you interpose the queen f3, rook takes f3, and then knight takes f3, rook takes g4 check, king h5, and then pawn to g6 check, king h6, and then we have this beautiful check on f8, and that would be a checkmate. So that's why, considering all of these ideas, on 28th move after bishop c8, Krasenko simply resigned the game. And I hope you enjoyed this quick review of this game. In case if you do, please like this video, and still if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon for the instant notifications. As usual, this is Chess Wiser, your wise choice to improve your chess.